It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
I'm Megan Braun. I host the Intermission podcast produced by the Synagogue, and today we have Micheline and R.H. Norman, who are both previous guests of ours, so welcome back.
Thanks for having us back.
It's fun to now have you two together.
Yeah, we did it separately last time.
Yeah,
so it's fun that we're both here now.
We're happy. This is our favorite podcast by far. So.
And also a big fan of the brand, too.
Yeah.
We own... Is this also... I think this might be a shirt for you guys.
Cool. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're
That's
big
sick.
fans.
Representing.
Yeah.
Very cool. For the listener who maybe hadn't listened to your individual episode, can you do an intro of who you are, your connection to each other, and what you do?
Sure. I'm Micheline Pitt Norman. I am married to this handsome man right here, and we are a writing and directing team. I'm also a fashion designer, artist, illustrator, sculptor, all the fun things.
All the above.
All the above.
Mm-hmm. And I'm R.H. Norman, and I'm just her writing and directing partner.
Yeah,
just. I don't think so.
I am
Not
her.
just. We're like a hydra. I actually like to say that on set. We're like a hydra.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't have one of us without having both of us.
Yeah. And it's really exciting for me to be with you two in person because I really enjoyed getting to know each of you. And then obviously I have you on social media. So I just feel like you guys are a very powerhouse couple.
Oh,
so it's fun to now get to chat with you two.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to work with your best friend, it makes your job really easy.
Very cute.
Very true.
Okay, so I probably asked you this when I had you each on, but if you had to pick a movie that describes your life right now, where you're at, what comes to mind?
That's different than one, like, I remember you asked me this and I had like a very different answer.
Yeah, from stage of life.
It's like surreal. Like everything that happened and has happened since VHS came out has been like surreal. Fantastic Fest was surreal. Like, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of something that feel like surrealist, like Amelie. Like, it would have to be like a surrealist, whimsical, like dream-like film because that's what it felt like. Like coming out of our screening of a Fantastic Fest, our life changed in that moment. And I haven't thought about what that would be like from a film standpoint.
I like the Junet thing. I'll say City of Lost Children, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I feel like there's multiple things in that right now that make me feel how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I would say Amelie for me, just like the dreamlike, childlike wonder and like the romance of it all and just like the dreaminess. I don't know. I just kind of felt like I'm in a daydream. And I feel like that film feels like a daydream.
Mm-hmm.
It's like such a sweet movie.
And obviously this has been mentioned so far, but today we will be discussing your latest project, VHS Halloween, specifically the Home Haunt segment was the segment you two worked on. We'll get into it later into the episode, but to get started, this is going to be our Halloween-esque episode. So we're going to talk about horror movies and get your guys' opinions and tastes and whatnot. So are there specific movies that you watch or rewatch every Halloween?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
I have like a roster of films that are not allowed to be watched except for the month of October.
That's fun.
And
do you do this together?
Yes, yes. And so on that list are very specific films. I would say we have Hocus Pocus, Trick or Treat, The Halloween Tree, one of our favorite Ray Bradbury books and animated movie. We have Ernest Scared Stupid, and we have like the Sleepy Hollow Tim Burton film. Also the Sleepy Hollow animated like film from Disney.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. We have the Charlie Brown.
The Great Pumpkin.
Great Pumpkin, and I also feel Paranorman also on that list, and then
Halloween 3. She didn't like the other ones. She
I
doesn't
love
like
Halloween. No, okay, look, the first one's a great film. However, it's just like the same thing. Nightmare on Elm Street. The first one's amazing, and then it just kind of changes from there. But I do love Halloween 3.
Cool.
You know, it's nothing like the
Yeah.
franchise.
Wait,
Are there any other movies I'm missing? I'm sure I am.
I mean,
I just want to be at your guys' house and watch these.
It's like anything that like could feel like Halloween, either in theme or like what's happening. We have to watch it. Just like how Gremlins feels like a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta like anything that could fall in that way. We try to like save them and condense them for Halloween watching.
Is there any sort of ambiance that you try to do, like light candles or have like snacks or?
normally we have normally we go all out. Like our house is called like the Halloween house or the witch house or whatever, and we'll spend 3 days just decorating everything. And this year we didn't have enough time to do that because of the VHS, but it was kind of cool because that was like our little replacement. We contributed to the Halloween culture for the year. So we went a little bit lighter on the decorating, but normally, yeah, we have all sorts of junk food. I mean, we eat terribly. We have like the eating habits of like a 10-year-old
We have a candy drawer that's like this deep and it's filled at all times. And I'd say our house ambience is permanently feels like Halloween. Like it's like the Addams Family
feels
house.
like Halloween.
People are like, oh my God, I love your decorations every day.
Addams Family is another one we watch during Halloween.
Cool.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the second one, which we watched during Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Okay.
And the second
it's
one's better.
mandatory Thanksgiving watching.
Addams Family Values is better than the Addams Family.
Yeah.
They're both good, but
Yeah.
the second one is pretty sick.
It's funny. I think about when a couple gets together and you have your own taste as an individual, and then you come together and then your tastes kind of form into this communal thing. And it's fun to hear you guys say, like, these are the movies that we watch, you know?
I definitely think I lowered his tastes.
I-
You are pretty highbrow.
Yeah,
Like,
she's increased
pretty
my
highbrow.
tolerance, I guess. I don't know if she's lowered my taste or
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it was I talked about him last time. One of my favorite directors is Terry Gilliam, and they always asked him or somebody asked him one time, what was if you had to go out of lose one sense of your body, what would you lose? And he was like, people always say I have bad taste, and I was like, that's cool, that's smart. So I like bad taste too. And I like good taste. I don't like the middle ground stuff where it's just fine. And so that
Like I'll make him watch Practical Magic.
Yeah.
She
Like,
makes
you know
me
what I
watch
mean?
Which is a great movie.
It's a great, but it's a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for all of us girls, we're like
Yeah.
that's on our list. So I've introduced to things that
She
like
made me
us
watch,
girls.
like Devil Wears Prada and things like that.
I think
So-
it's important for him to see like just like how I'll watch like westerns with him. Like every
she will not
straight
watch
girl I
Westerns.
know
That is
isn't
that
like
is a
sitting
podcast
down
lie.
and saying, you know, I really need to watch these 4 Clint Eastwood western movies back to back.
Still trying to get her to watch The Searchers.
Okay.
She did like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, well, Marconi, like I love his music, so like it's just hard to watch that many westerns back to back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna make him watch.
Not for me.
The shaking of his head.
Do you watch Westerns?
No.
Okay, see, it's just a thing. Like,
I'm just saying, I have never ever met a girl that it was just like westerns.
Yeah.
There is. I'm going to go ahead and say, man, it's controversial. There's a gender divide here, and I've seen it like night and day. I'm talking like hardcore cinephile women who like the best movies and the best taste. They will not watch a western,
Yeah.
and then
But
and it's only
I
just
do
slightly
now. I
easier
do
to
now.
watch like an Italian mob movie. Those are the other ones that are kind
I'm
of
down for those.
Yeah,
though.
I was gonna
now
say,
that
actually, I
I've started
like that.
watching
Yeah.
them, I'm like into the mob movies. I mean, Scorsese.
She does like, and they're essentially westerns, but she likes like Kurosawa, like
I want
samurai
a Japanese
movies.
samurai western. Like I can watch
Sick.
those all day long.
Yeah.
But it's just, look, I watch them now, and I have a love for them because of him. But like, I wouldn't say he has a love for like Practical Magic or Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Those also
Or
are
like
the Searchers.
he loves
so
Heathers, but like Mean Girls.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Mean Girls.
I
keep
still haven't
hearing about.
convinced him to watch that
Damn.
yet.
She keeps talking about someone named Regina George. And
Yeah.
I don't get it.
October 3rd was yesterday, right?
Yeah, our
No,
movie
2 days
came out.
ago.
Yeah, when our movie came out, it was a Mean Girls reference. October 3rd. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
I don't
Look,
get it.
and this is how we round each other out.
Yeah,
So,
you need that.
Yeah, I'm the one that's like has my finger on the pulse of like what's contemporary and popular like the now, and he's like my historic like cinephile, and we kind of commingle our tastes and things to make like the
You're a
perfect person.
cinephile too, though.
I know, I am.
Micheline
I
has
mean, I'm not
excellent
learning.
taste.
Both of your episodes, like, I love when I leave an episode and I'm like, I have a lot to look up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of your episodes, I left thinking like, oh, there's a lot for me to learn right now, which is like my favorite feeling.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, when you could discover movies
Yeah.
and the people that are in your life that introduce you to new movies are like the best people to have in your life, and those are the kind of people you should have around. And
It's a gift.
We do that for each other constantly. I wouldn't say my taste has ever been like lowbrow, but I will say that I love a camp. I'm definitely a
Yeah.
camp girl for sure. And I think movies have every place to like be serious and purposeful and have meaning and tell a story that needs to be told. But at the same time, it's okay for movies to just be fun and have popcorn
Yeah.
and have a good time. Like, I don't think that either one are devalued, and I think they're both important because they serve different purposes. Just like books, just like any form of art.
Yeah, valid. In regards to horror movies that have come out this year, what are some that really stuck with you? Any fan faves?
Oh my gosh, Weapons.
We loved Weapons.
Oh,
I
we loved Weapons.
Loved Weapons.
Yeah.
It was so fun, and I love like the character of the witch. She's so like John Waters, Tim Burton coded. Like if you go back and watch Edward Scissorhands, she looks like the like fucked up version of like the rapey redheaded lady.
That's funny.
And like they even have the same glasses. They
Mm.
have some of the same wardrobe, which is interesting. So I wonder if he's ever talked about that, or maybe even the wardrobe person or costume designer had that in mind when they did her character. Another thing I really love about her is she has this, that her bag that she carries around is the carpet from the Madonna Inn.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's
I
made of
love
the
the
carpet from
Madonna
Madonna
Inn. I went to college in San Luis Obispo, and so I spent a birthday at Madonna Inn in the Spanish room or whatever.
Okay.
But
That pink champagne cake is like the best.
Yeah.
So we had a blast with Weapons. And then we got to see Shelby Oaks at
I've been hearing really good things.
at Fantastic Fest. And the director is like such a lovely man. We got to talk to him for a bit, and he's such a big supporter of like filmmakers and horror and genre, and like you could just see his passion for all this in his movie. And he did some like really cool original things. So I'm excited for people to see it.
Sick. Yeah, I've been seeing a bit about it online, and I really like the poster for Shelby Oaks.
Yeah.
It's a just well done design.
Neon doesn't miss, man.
Neon does
Yeah.
not miss. What about you?
I mean, for me, the best, I guess the best movie that's just straight up horror is definitely for me Weapons. I mean, it just takes one of the things I like it is that it's aggressively fun, and there's this kind of like the whole like trauma porn kind of thing that's been going on. I love those movies. I love feel bad movies, but like Weapons kind of like really made an effort to like elevate like fun, shout at the screen horror into art, and like just unabashedly so. And I just thought it was great.
And even though he had the theme of his trauma as a child like woven into Weapons, he put it together in a way that was like enjoyable.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Also, that child actor was so good.
He's
So
very
good.
Yeah.
I would say this counts as horror. We saw The Plague at Fantastic Fest.
That is The Plague is one of my favorite movies of the year.
It was
That
so
was
good.
that was amazing. You talk about like child actor performances. I think that by far had the best child actor performances this year, and whether it really classifies as a genre film is pretty.
I
up
think
for
it's
debate.
genre.
It's more of a coming of age kind of like drama with some genre leading moments. But that one I liked a lot. I'm trying to think.
I'd say there's like real life horror woven into it.
Huh.
And the soundtrack was really incredible in the way it like paired with the film. And it
not
was
enough
like
people are talking about it yet, but I think that's
No.
going to change. Like
I
it's
really
very
do.
good. It's very
Cool.
good.
I'm really, really impressed. And it's the director's first film. I was like so impressed.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, do you guys recall the first horror movie you ever saw?
Yes. Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I was like 3. My babysitter was playing it. And I got up to the screen. Like it was like full poltergeist. I was like, oh my God. I was like fascinated by it. I just liked the monster design, and I was so little. Like I don't think I understood what I was looking at. I just thought it like looked cool.
Yeah.
And it was also like Halloween time
Mm-hmm.
when they were playing it. And because there's a bunch of other teenagers there, like and like kind of hanging out and stuff, and she's supposed to be babysitting me and being probably irresponsible. But yeah, Pumpkinhead for me.
Yeah, I don't know if this qualifies. I mean, the first movie I recall seeing and having a big impression on me was Godzilla Raids Again, the second Godzilla movie. I guess that qualifies as horror, but the first one that was like meant to be scary horror, it was The Creature from the Black Lagoon. My mom was very good about having, and also The Birds. The Birds was one of the first horror movies I watched. My mom was like really good about really introducing me to early classic films, black and white movies. I got, she's a big reason that I love older films so much is because, when all my friends were watching, just contemporary stuff at the time, my mom was putting on Alfred Hitchcock. She was putting on Universal Monsters. She was putting on John Ford. And like, so I really had like an early introduction to classic films. And I think if I had to point it out, I think the very first horror movie I saw was Creature. And then the first one I saw that was contemporary was Candyman. Because I was over at a friend's
scary
house.
one.
And Candyman and Critters. Critters I saw probably when I was 5. And I think the reason that I saw it was I saw the Marquis in Ninja Turtles movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he had gone to see Critters.
Oh,
Raphael
funny.
did. And I was like, well, what's Critters? And then I remember when I went to a movie store, I saw that Critters was there, and I wanted to be like Raphael. So I grabbed the tape and I rented it, and it just like destroyed me. I was so scared of these things. But I finally found out what Raphael was watching.
That's funny. I do love, this has happened to me a couple times too, where in a movie there's a marquee or there's a poster or someone name drops another movie and then you just go down a rabbit hole. I love that.
And I got introduced to all the classics to my grandpa, similar to what your mom did. But I would say like the first like modern one was Pumpkinhead, because I got to see Frankenstein and all the classics with my grandfather. Yeah. So I think we both kind of had that as a child. Like we got to see the old classics and contemporary films.
Somebody made a really funny cut of Ninja Turtles 2 where they, as soon as he goes in the theater, they filmed like the back of Raphael sitting in the theater, and they just play all of Critters and have him like
That's
commenting
funny.
like Mystery Science Theater 3000. And then when he leaves, it just goes with the rest of the Ninja Turtles movie. So it's like a really funny cut.
That's cool. People are so clever.
Yeah.
He loves Ninja Turtles, if you haven't picked up on that.
I love
There's a
Ninja
big
Turtles.
Ninja Turtles collection at the house.
Oh, really?
Yes, that stuff's sequestered into his office because it doesn't
I have
match
a
the rest of our
containment.
home.
I have a containment zone.
It's so bright and colorful and 80s, and our house looks like the Addams Family. So like his Godzilla stuff can be anywhere in the house, but the Ninja Turtles stuff has to be sequestered.
Yeah. I think that I would have been the same. Like, I'm a big aesthetic person, and so I'd be like, yeah, this isn't fitting.
Yeah.
What's your aesthetic like in your house?
I would say that I can't pinpoint a time period, but I love wood. I love like as much wood as possible. The building I live in is like a Spanish building, so the walls have a lot of texture to them, and
plaster.
And we have good built-ins.
Okay.
So like I like the color that comes from all my books. I have a ton of coffee table books, and I
very
like the
cool.
pops of color to be like my Persian rug, my coffee table books, but everything else to be very like materials, so woods and tiles
And texture.
Yeah, and texture. And then I really have noticed I have a ton of like sage green in my home.
Oh, that's
like,
cool. We have a lot of green.
We have
in
a
our
lot of
house.
green too.
Yeah, and so like that's kind of my reoccurring color, like for my kitchen backsplash or moments like that. But yeah, my boyfriend Mikhail, he's like a big cyclist, and he has like 6 bikes.
Oh wow.
And we have this big closet, and somehow all the bikes fit in there. And I'm like, no bikes outside of this closet, like all the like water bottles and helmets and gear, and I'm like, shove it in the closet.
Yeah,
None of this
like
is out here.
aesthetically, this is
it's
not the vibe.
So
Yep.
he's got a containment zone too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our lot.
And he also randomly got into Legos like last year.
She
and I
won't
was
let
like,
me get any Legos.
Look,
I
he
asked.
is maxed out. We do Legos with our nieces and nephews for their Christmas.
I
We
try.
buy
I
them
go to my
very big,
houses
expensive, cool ones. There's no room.
yeah.
You got to get rid of some of those Godzilla toys.
No.
They're huge.
I would like
funny.
Legos. I'm not allowed.
You can go play Legos at
She doesn't
someone
want to
else's
step on
house.
any of them, and you know.
Yeah, that's painful.
Yeah. There's just no space.
What was your boyfriend's fate with the Legos?
He there's like a few little like car Legos he did, and they're just in a cabinet.
Okay,
and
okay.
then close the door.
Where no one can
yeah.
see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Legos are the
everything to be shut
westerns
doors.
of the toys. Like that's
That's funny.
yeah.
Okay, well, I know obviously you two are big horror people, but I'm curious what like genuinely scares each of you. When you're watching a horror movie, is it a scenario that's a realistic horror, or is it horror that's a jump scare, or you're more of maybe like the fantastical horror that is like creeps into your nightmares type of person?
I mean, for me, the only movie that's ever really scared, I mean, like, I've had successful jump scares. Like, our friend James Wan is probably the master at scaring the shit out of me in new movies. But as far as, like, what has always continuously been scary to me is The Exorcist. Because my family's Catholic, like, Romanian and Polish. So, like, the thought of, like, demons and ghosts and all that stuff can, like, really get under your skin. And I think because of Friedkin's history of being a documentary filmmaker and the way he shoots, you know, that film, it makes you feel like you're there in that moment, and it's so like visceral. That is I find that movie to be very, very scary. And then I would say other films that can be really scary are, like you said, like real life horror
Yeah, I think
moments.
the scariest one that I've seen So I typically like, and this is the kind of stuff we make too, which is like the really fantastical stuff. But to me, that's less scary and more imaginative. It does scare some people. We like really big visuals and other worlds, and we feel like we're being transported somewhere when we're watching a horror movie. So things like Suspiria is one of my favorite movies, but I don't know that Suspiria's ever scared anyone. You know, it's just it engages you on like a crazy kind of surreal level. And I really love that, but you know, it's more about creating an atmosphere and kind of an enchanted feeling. I like that, but the ones that actually scare me are the ones that are more grounded. Like The Vanishing, I think is the scariest movie ever made. The original from I forget which country it was, but not the remake.
Oh,
with,
okay.
Jeff
I've only
Bridges.
seen the remake.
No, the original. Oh, you got to watch the original. The
watch the
original is one of the
original.
most chilling. Kubrick said it was the most frightening
Yeah.
movie ever made,
Wow.
and I agree with that. It's just
haunting.
There's some really just cold-hearted. It really feels like sinking and sinking and sinking when you're watching it, and that one leaves a really really dark pit in my stomach whenever I watch it. So I think The Vanishing is probably the scariest movie ever.
Cool. Okay. I'll add it to the list.
You should.
Watch the original one. It is one of the most like unsettling experiences.
As you two were answering, I was kind of thinking like what my answer would be, and I think anything that's to do with abductions. I think
Then The Vanishing is going to really
yeah.
mess
fuck
you
you
up.
up.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on this a little bit already, but what comes to mind when I say non-Halloween movies, but you still consider them Halloween movies?
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Non-Halloween movies that I consider Halloween movies. I mean, I feel like Practical Magic's a Halloween movie, and like it's not specifically designed to be a Halloween film. That feels like a Halloween movie, and I'm trying to think.
James and the Giant Peach.
James and the Giant Peach.
That's
That
fun.
feels like a Halloween movie because most of the other ones that Tim Burton did that were stop motion are Halloween movies. So
Yeah.
that one just feels de facto like it. Jurassic Park, because you can watch it anytime and it's the best movie ever. So
Just slipping it in.
That's de facto a Halloween movie. I would say
Dead Silence.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite James movies, and I feel like people are sleeping on that one. I mean, anything that's got really creepy dolls and like ventriloquist dummies
Yeah.
is a good time. And there's like a big spooky, like everything feels spooky and eerie.
Return of the Living Dead, even though it takes place in like July.
That feels very Halloween.
That feels like very Halloween. It almost is weird when it says like the July, I think 2nd or something, or 17th. I forget which one.
Yeah,
it is.
it's a 4th of July kind of film.
Yeah,
technically.
yeah, 4th of July. I think July 3rd is when it happens in the movie. I don't remember, but that one feels very Halloween coded. I would go as far as to say, even though it's a Christmas movie, to me, Gremlins feels like a Halloween movie. Like even the way that they portray Christmas. I don't know. The town almost looks more like Halloween to me. Like it's just entering, mostly because it's at like night and there's people walking around at night and stuff. And I don't know that one. Even though it's very much a Christmas movie, it could also be Halloween.
I feel like almost anything that Tim Burton does feels like it can fall under Halloween because his aesthetic is so creepy, spooky, like whimsical. Like it just feels fantastical. And I feel like almost anything he does, you could watch and it'd be like perfect for October and Halloween season.
Okay, I think I know what your answer would be for this, maybe yours, but I'm going to go through the different eras of horror movies and tell me which one is your favorite. So we have like the 30s, 40s, 50s Universal Monster franchise, then like 70s slasher, 80s Final Girl, 90s like meta horror teen angst, and then 2000s is more of the found footage supernatural. If you had to pick one era that you feel like is your vibe and what you're drawn to, what comes to mind?
Mine would be the Universal Monsters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not a big slasher person per se. It takes a very specific movie for me to like slashers. I think the only one I super gravitate to is Goodnight Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. Because it's supernatural. So I would say Universal Monsters era.
That's
for
mine
me.
too. I just like the classic. To me, they were aspiring to be great films and not just like horror movies.
Yeah.
And like they weren't really made to like at least the first run of them. Eventually, it got in the later
Camp.
into the 50s. It got into camp, and like if you watch old movies like I actually think, even though I love Atomic Age monster movies, I'd say the 50s is one of the worst eras for horror movies because they had these great ideas like Them with the big ants, and like I love the Atomic Age things, but the movies themselves were actually structured to be around kids making out in drive-thrus. So they would specifically have like a really cool, like iconic movie like The Blob, you see the Blob like twice in it, and there's just this long like stretch in the middle of people kind of talking like this in a room and saying we should probably find the sheriff. And they were doing that because they wanted to have a couple thrills in there, but they want to have like long gaps where kids are like making out in the theater. So like my favorite is like 30s and 40s. I love like The Innocents, and I love, well, that might be the 50s. I don't remember. But like I love old Gothic haunted house movies. I love the classic Universal monster movies. Gojira, the original Godzilla film, that was 1954. That's one of my favorites. So I would say probably went from the 30s to the 50s, but as it got from the later 50s into the 60s, it got pretty bad. I do like, as far as slashers go, with her, the supernatural ones are better, so we gravitate more towards like Nightmare on Elm Street and Chucky versus like Jason and Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. And the aught years were a plague. Of just the worst editing of all time. Right. Just like, it's like new metal for movies. It was horrible.
Even then, I'll watch movies from that era just because I love like the set design, or I love the 13 Ghosts. I love the ghost designs, and then I think they're really fun and wild and like really stood out as like their own thing at the time. And also it has Matthew Lillard in it, and he's just like a sweet baby angel, and I'll like watch anything with him in it. He's so funny.
I hate that movie.
I unfortunately made him watch it so many times. It has so much potential to be great, though.
Yeah, Guilty Pleasures is like
we do have guilty pleasure movies. I like
the House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, you like that one. The house design's insane.
Yeah, we kind of argue over which one between that and 13 Ghosts is better. The answer is neither, but like
you love things about both of them though. And I mean, like even Dead Silence is from the aught years, but there's some crazy stuff that James does in that movie, and like the set design and the designs of like the puppets and the dolls and the villain are so cool. I also feel like he was always ahead of his time. Like anytime I watch anything he does on his own, he is like leaps and bounds and years ahead of people. Like Malignant is like the predecessor of things like Weapons, you know? Like, I just feel like, anytime I get to watch somebody who has like a great design aesthetic and thing, like doesn't matter what era it is, like they're always going to be leaps and bounds better than like something like 13 Ghosts. Yeah. So if you like aught years horror and have not seen Dead Silence, highly recommend watching.
I also love the 90s for creature features.
Yes.
90s, a lot of people would think this is like apostasy. I prefer 90s to the 80s for horror movies. And a lot of that was just because that was when I was a kid. And so, the first Fangoria issue I ever had Rumpelstiltskin on the cover. And it's just like...
Okay, I remember that movie being better than it was. We rewatched it, and I was like, this is not great.
Yeah. But like Tremors.
Tremors is really fun.
All that stuff in the 90s, it was
Frighteners.
like that. Frighteners. Like there was a lot of really great 90s horror films that...
There were a lot of great movies in general in the 90s. Like indie movies in the 90s were top tier.
Yeah,
I think
80s was rough.
90s, early 2000s are where most of my favorite movies live.
100%.
Yeah. That's cool. So much to see. Okay, so I'm going to end this section with, if you had to choose a horror movie universe that you feel like you could survive in and want to be in, what universe would you be in?
Oh, I know which one. Because I love haunted things, the Conjuring universe. Mm-hmm. I love like possessed, haunted. Like we collect so many antiques and things in our house. I'm always like, one of these things has to be fucking haunted by something. So I feel like I would want to like chill and go visit the Warrens' house. Like that would be super fun for me, and like listening to all the stories and all the artifacts. And also I'm down to like see all the messed up things that happen. And I feel like when you watch the movies, I think my chance of survival is kind of high. Mm-hmm. I feel like I wouldn't do anything too stupid, but I also would be like so into like watching everything happen that I could also die.
Yeah.
So I think those would be really fun. I'm a sucker for like possession and like haunted stuff movies. Yeah. Like those are my favorite.
I get the zombie bullshit. I can survive that because
I don't want that.
All you got to do is go up to like Alaska or someplace where it's really cold, and the rigor mortis would stop them from doing anything anyway. But like the zombies are going to get too cold, they're going to get slow. It's not going to be a big deal. They're going to stay where it's warm. So like everyone who does in a zombie movie is just stupid because they're trying to stay in like a warm area. And all you got to do is just go up north, survive long enough to get there, and you'll never be bothered by a zombie again.
That's funny. I like how logical
that get there.
Or you just climb.
How do you get there?
And I'm surprised
safely?
I've never seen a zombie movie where no one in their house has ever like climbed up into their attic and pulled the cord up and just like hung out there for a while. That's also a good move.
Yeah. I like that you went the very like logical logistic route,
Yeah.
and you went the more like I want to hear the stories and
I want to be in it. I
Yeah.
want to be there present, like in all of it. I think it would be really fun because I don't want to be in like Poltergeist. Like that kind of is a little bit more scary, where you go into another space and dimension.
Yeah.
I'd rather just be like, there's a fucking doll that makes some crazy shit happen, and there's a demon attached to it. Like, let's go.
I'm curious when you said you guys have a lot of antiques in your home and it has that like Addams Family feel. Have you ever had anything spooky happen at your house?
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
Oh yeah. So our house is legitimately haunted. It's over 100 years old.
Does it feel like a good, like a warm haunting, or like they don't want you there
What,
hunting?
neutral?
I would say I knew when we went to see the house that there was like energy there that was of something else.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out that the man that built the house had died in a car accident, had his funeral in our living room.
Whoa.
Multiple people had died on the property over the 100 years. And the last gentleman that lived there, I believe, died in our bedroom, like old age, you know.
Yeah.
And when we first moved in, the first few weeks, every night at like 2:15, stuff would happen.
Huh.
So he would sit on the end of our bed and like touch my feet. And then there was always like a cold corner in our bedroom. And then the activities started getting worse and more active. I would see a gentleman in like 30s era, like kind of dressing and like hair in reflective surfaces, like glimpses of him in a mirror or the window pane in a certain area of the house. And I thought, is there like a gas leak and I'm like hallucinating? And there was one night that I saw like a full-on apparition, which I have never experienced in my life. And I remember going to Jip like, I don't know if I'm fucking crazy. Like, is there a gas leak? And I got like one of those gas meters to like check because I legitimately thought I was hallucinating. And there's a weird stairwell that goes down, and that's where the driver's room used to be. I think he also may have had like died there as well. And there was like a translucent head that flew up at me from the staircase, screaming. Some old man. I literally fell backwards. And I was just like thinking, I've never seen anything like this. This is insane. I felt crazy. Like I just felt like something was wrong with me. And then one night, all of our alarms went off in our house as if someone was walking through it and had broken into our home, and the sheriff came.
Well, you could see that was the only thing I
We
witnessed.
checked the cameras.
You could see the alarm was going off room by room.
Something was
the
walking through
the motion
it.
activators, and we looked at the video, and I did see this one. I have not seen any apparitions or anything. There was like a mist coming through, and
Like a misty haze moving through the house.
It was setting off the leading up to it.
shit.
So I thought we thought we had a home intruder because when the room was getting set off, like
Yeah.
And the
acid-
sheriffs came, guns drawn, came into the house, everything, did a full walkthrough. We're like barricaded into our room, and we showed them the footage and everything. And the one of the sheriffs like pulled us aside and he said, "I feel really embarrassed saying this." He's like, "Your house scares the shit out of me,
Whoa.
and I think it's haunted."
Yeah.
He's like, "This is something." He's like, "I've never felt this way walking through someone's house before." And then eventually, when we stopped doing all the major like renovation, because we were opening up all the walls,
Yeah.
fixing the electrical, fixing the plumbing, when all that settled, the house started to settle.
Huh.
And the only time we get activity now is when I pull out my pendulum and like stuff starts happening.
I don't like when she does that.
Wow.
She always tries to do it near my office.
There's a lot of energy in certain parts of the
I
house.
don't want her doing her pendulum in my office, but she does it.
I believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
And I believe in like energy and things, and you know, none of it's really based in like religious beliefs. It's just like things that I've felt and seen and experienced.
Yeah.
Which is a big reason why I love movies like that.
Yeah.
Which can also scare me because I am someone who believes in those things. So yeah, that our house is legitimately actually haunted. And
You guys need to do a project about it.
Maybe.
I mean, we would love to do a haunted house movie at some point. I think
Yeah.
that would be really, really fun.
I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will
We just
sometime
love
in our
haunted house
we do
stories
like
so much.
possession or like haunted, cursed, any of that stuff. Like it's definitely something that we're interested in and believe in and get excited about. So I'm sure sometime within our lifespan we'll get to do something like that.
Okay, well, speaking of you guys may be doing a project about your home that I want you to do. Let's talk about the actual project you just finished or just released, VHS Halloween, the Home Haunt segment. Can you guys explain to the listener what VH Halloween is, the reoccurring nature and the segments of it, and then your participation in this?
Yeah, VHS is a very popular franchise that started in, I think, 2012. And what they do is they get a mix of established and emerging filmmakers, and they basically create, nowadays based on a theme, like this year Halloween was a unifying theme, to kind of create found footage, first-person perspective, POV-based, short form horror stories. And they put them all together, sometimes with a wraparound. And that's the idea, is to just do kind of a variety show for horror. So it's, and it's interesting because you kind of see how people react to it, because everybody wants something a little different from horror. And I think that Josh Goldblum, our producer, and Shudder are pretty smart in knowing that the best way to succeed with this is to give every kind of audience something they want. So I would say, some people are going to have more horror comedy. Some people are going to have something very terrifying, some that feels like something you shouldn't watch, like a snuff film. And some people are going to have things that are more in the middle of traditional, horror fare. And by doing that, you really create something very unique in VHS, because it's the only horror franchise that encompasses every subgenre of horror in it. And I think that's what kind of makes it stand out.
Very cool.
The interesting thing is the theme of found footage and the POV perspective. That is like the thing that unifies every segment of VHS. And a lot of us filmmakers have never shot anything like that or even done anything like that. So it's also like a really fun exercise for everyone that gets to be a part of the VHS franchise, is doing something you might never do again or for the first time. Or like for this last one, we had Paco Plaza, who co-created Rec, who has a huge experience of doing things like this and successfully. So I think it's cool because it's such a playground of creativity. I think the other thing that's really interesting about being a part of VHS is how much creative freedom you get. So like when you do your segment and you have your story, like pretty much nothing's off limits so long as it's within your budget and your time constraints. And they really support you to kind of push and go further and bigger and bolder and crazier. And it's not something you would necessarily experience from a studio perspective. So I think that's what's really cool, is that it is like a sandbox that has like complete freedom in most cases.
How fun. And coming up with how you wanted to differentiate your segment, what were your goals that you wanted this to feel like?
We normally make things that are kind of bleak or gloomy or,
intense or serious.
And so when we had this opportunity, we're like, okay, let's challenge ourselves. Let's do something that is like core fun horror and something that's like, a little bit campy, but also really big visually and has some of our, fantasy horror elements that we love in it, but just something that's meant a little bit more to find the joy of Halloween.
I wanted it to feel like an R-rated Goosebumps.
Fun.
Like that was my thing, is like, I wanted it to be nostalgic, and I wanted it to be like, well, what if we took all these things from our childhood that we like enjoyed, but like we made it R-rated? Like what if we push it further?
Yeah. So we wanted to have it kind of have a, early Peter Jackson, early Sam Raimi, kind of splatterfest, with some humor mixed in, but not enough to be completely a horror comedy.
And there had to be heart. We wanted there to be like a family story at its core. And we wanted people to like be invested and care about these people, but we had such a small amount of time to do that. That's the other thing is that people don't think about is we have the shortest segment in this installment. I think it's under 18 minutes. And we have to tell some kind of cohesive story with characters and have all these things happen and have the pacing and everything work. But I think the one thing that was really different with us is we knew we wanted this to be about a family, and that's something that they've never done before for VHS.
Yeah, it's usually just, and it works, but it's a good formula, but it's usually just college kids who are obnoxious and you want to see die, show up and go, woo, into a
And they
camera,
usually all
and then
die.
something shows up and kills them. And we wanted to have something a little more. We wanted to feel purely Halloween. Like when they told us the theme, we took that very seriously. And it's like, okay, we're going to be dead set on having the most Halloween thing you can possibly do. And so that was kind of our approach to it.
Sweet. And how did you guys get connected to VHS in the first place?
We had met Josh Goldblum, one of the main producers for VHS, through several of our other film industry friends. That we kept running into him at all of our friends' birthdays and parties, and we just kind of hit it off. And I remember at our friend Evan Dixon's birthday, Josh had told me, I was like, hey, so what's the theme for this coming VHS? Because I was just curious. And he said, actually, it's Halloween. And I was like, oh my God, I freaked out. You know how autistic kids like trains? I like Halloween. Like how, autistic kids like trains, I like Halloween. So I kind of just completely rizzed out and was just going on about you could do this and then look at these costumes from the 20s and 30s and look at this thing and then there's this lore and I just kind of started nerding out and was so excited and he started getting excited and I just told him this is the coolest theme ever, because I think it was one of those things him thinking, is this going to be cool? Is this going to be good? And I think seeing the excitement in someone that he just met, and I think that also made him excited. And next thing we knew, we got a message from him asking for us to pitch on VHS Halloween, and I was not expecting that, because me talking to him wasn't I could do this or I could. It was more oh man, you could do this and then you could do this. I was just really excited, and there was just authenticity in that excitement, and I think maybe that's what did it. And then he saw Grummy.
Yeah,
too.
he saw Grummy and he really loved that. So they wanted us to kind of do something like Grummy again, which means try to do something impossible with no money and no time. And I was oh God. So we had to do that. But that kind of, I think we gave them several different pitches, 4 pitches, some of which were more straightforward, really dark horror that was kind of meant to be purely scary. Some stuff that was a little bit more fun and campy. And then the one that was kind of in the middle of all that was Home Haunt. And it had more to do with what we had done with Grummy in terms of production design elements and all that stuff, kind of the fairy tale look. And so that's the one they ultimately settled on, and that's the one we made.
And then when everybody got our script, the one thing we kept hearing is how ambitious it was.
You never want to hear that from a producer. That's the worst word you can hear. That it sounds oh yeah, it is ambitious. You want to think that. No, you never.
They're so scared you're gonna fucking fail.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I could see how that would be oh shit.
And our friends are reading it guys, this is so ambitious. And I'm oh man. And it was. I mean, look, what we did in 5 days with the money we had is insane.
It was brutal.
We all had the same amount of money. We all had the same amount of days.
Wow.
And that did the full segments. Yeah. And we all just really had to stretch every dollar.
Wow. Well, congrats, because it seems it is killing.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's
number one in the USA and UK right now on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you should feel so proud of yourself.
That's crazy.
That is so cool.
I'm I don't know if we've never made anything like this where this many people have seen something we've created and we got to do it with all these wonderful people. It's
Did you get a chance
so
to watch
unexpected.
it yet?
No, I still haven't seen
I
it.
look forward to hearing what you think of it.
I think it'll be my tonight watch.
Oh, it should be.
Yeah.
We're the last installment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were unique challenges, but what are some technical or creative challenges for shooting this short that rose to the surface that stand out?
I would say definitely the fact that we had bitten off a lot more than we could chew. And, in terms of just how many sets we had to build versus how many days we had to build them. So the biggest challenge was that we had 0 margin for failure. We had no chance to get even any pickup shots on any place because we were, in many cases, we were building the sets overnight and striking them the same day.
Or building them the same day. So we were shooting.
Paint was all wet.
In the witches scene, they were finishing the escape tunnel in between setups. Literally finishing it right before we shot.
So we couldn't, we had no chance to reshoot a single thing. Throughout the whole movie, we couldn't do anything. In the locations we only had access to for a day that were not sets that we built on a stage. Most of the locations were sets we built on a stage.
And one location got torn down the day after we were done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all the standing sets were ripped down.
So there was a lot of pressure on us in terms of we had to get it nailed. And the problem with that too, with that pressure, is that most of ours is a oneer. So it's one, and you obviously you cheat and you cut, but a lot of that's very hard to do because you're having to do whip pans and wiping on walls and trying to find points where you can cut and hide the edits. And to create the kind of idea. We took it very seriously that this is going to be a real found footage movie, meaning that hypothetically, if you found the family's camcorder and you just press play, all the cuts are just them pressing. It's all edited in camera, so all the cuts are them pressing stop and start. We didn't want to have any pausing. We didn't, because a lot of people in found footage are like, oh, why do they keep filming? To me, that's not the most interesting question about the whole thing. It's like, who's editing this stuff?
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times they'll have like impossible edits or they'll go from different camera setups.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And so we wanted to get away from that. You know, for me, the most boring thing you could do, and somebody always is going to do it. Well, why, if they're getting attacked, why are they still filming? It's like, well, it's because people want to have a movie to watch. And ours was pretty simple. This is on their property. And if they don't film, people are going to think they were killing these people. And so they're documenting it. But like, you know, that should honestly be enough to answer that question for people who are always like, why do they keep filming? It's well, something crazy's happening to you. And you have a camera.
Think about how people are with their cell phones.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're filming instead of actually doing something.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, we can say that, but if we look at the world and how people respond and how they react, they do film.
Yeah, I saw
They do keep filming. They don't stop.
I saw a video the other day of somebody who got shot. And they were lying on the ground. Some dude's like with his like Jamba Juice or something. He's walking around. He's like, "Oh shit, that's crazy." He's filming it. And just keeps going. It's like the world now is a found footage horror movie because we all have cameras.
Correct.
And if you're one of those nerds watching this and are thinking, "Man, why are people like filming stuff?" Because there's a movie and because you need to watch it. So don't be that nerd.
I like that.
Some of the challenges too were we did everything practically. So everything was real puppets, real makeup, real gags happening in camera. We did stop motion. So the last shot of it is stop motion, which is also a first of VHS. And the thing that I will say was like the puppets are really challenging. There were rod puppets and they're just stuff wasn't working and stuff wasn't panning out the way it was supposed to. And we just had to like cut and edit and like have our VFX supervisor come in and help us like, you know, piece some things together to work, because it just wasn't working in the day of. And that was really, really stressful. And that was really challenging. And probably the most challenging, more so than like working with kids. I will say like having like puppets or animatronics or something not working is like your worst nightmare as a filmmaker
you feel
on
the
set.
time ticking and
it's not an easy fix. And it's just like, what do you do? And and that's a big part of our job is like problem solving in that moment. So I feel like doing VHS Halloween set us up for success for bigger projects, bigger problem solving, and also having a great producer like Josh Goldblum on set, like boots on the ground, helping you solve problems, seeing the trees through the grass. And like that is really what a great producer does is they show up, they're there, they're present, and they're fixing and solving problems with you and supporting you. And like that was something that helped every challenge be less challenging, was having him on set.
I'd say the other technical challenge too, and this doesn't get talked about a whole lot, and we've mentioned it a few times now, but it's the music, because found footage properly done should be diegetic in terms of music, meaning that you should only have music that's playing like in the scene in real life. Like so for ours, there's a couple pieces of music because there's speakers outside of their home haunt maze and it's playing spooky music, and so you only can hear it when they're standing next to it, and horror movie relies so heavily on music.
Yeah.
And it's just like it really is like cutting off one of your arms to make a horror movie without like a score to build it up or to create tension or do that. So like that really was the challenge in terms of how we're going to edit this. How can we make it intense? You know, ours wasn't ever really meant to be like jump scare scary or anything like that. More just like a thrill ride. But creating that intensity is very hard when there's no music playing. So that was a challenge.
Because if you think about watching like It Follows without any sound, that movie is not going to be the same.
Yeah, this is such an interesting point. I didn't even think of that. That is challenging.
Yeah, very challenging. Found footage is hard.
It is hard.
And one thing we say, and it's very complimentary to all of the filmmakers who are in our installment in particular, but VHS is one of the hardest things you can do, and you cannot make a great VHS segment by being a mediocre filmmaker. It doesn't exist. So I do think there's a reason, like, you know, as much as fans like get excited about VHS and they love it or hate it, you know, they're all over the place with it. It's fun watching their kind of comments. It's like what you really see is a lot of appreciation from the film industry. So like different producers, different people, they're really paying attention to how hard these things are to do and to make a really good one.
Limited resources.
So that's been kind of nice to hear is, you know, other filmmakers, producers, executives, like they all really watch VHS and they all really understand how hard it is to where a general audience are just like, I don't like that one. Or
So
I like
many
this one.
great
It's like,
filmmakers came out of VHS. David Bruckner, Katie Siegel, Ty West. you know more of
I
the
mean,
list
there's
of
a bunch.
filmmakers.
Radio Silence got their start with that. Scott Derrickson did one, but obviously he was more established. I mean, there's been a lot of really great directors that have come out of it, and it's kind of become like a who's who of genre. So we're honored to be a part of it.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then to wrap this up, I think, could you guys share where and how the listener can view VHS?
VHS has just premiered. It's currently streaming on Shudder and AMC Plus. We are also #1 on Amazon Prime. So depending on which service you have and which one you use, you can watch it right now.
Anywhere in the world. So that's really exciting. I think Shudder's not global, but Amazon Prime, I think, is mostly global. So you can definitely check it out on both of those and AMC Plus. And then we're really excited because we're full steam ahead on our feature debut with James Wan and Ingrid Bisu for Cosmetic with Atomic Monster. So you guys will get to see and hear a lot more about that very soon.
I'm sure we'll have you guys back on to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, we'd love to talk about it. It's going to be an absolutely batshit crazy movie
So
that we're going to
sick.
get to make with them.
I'm excited for you guys. And congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. We always love coming in and talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to get lost.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Dean, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.